How often do you get outside in the sunshine, around nature? How often do you get outside? Like, if you tallied up how much you get outside, how many minutes, how many hours you get outside per week, have you ever thought of that? I thought I got out more than I actually do, but there's room for improvement. I'm sure some of you work outside, so you're outside a lot. But today I want to talk about the benefits of getting outside, of being outside. If you are new here, my name is Rachel. This is I'm Bringing Healthy Back, and I have a history with disordered eating. And today I just wanted to talk about not necessarily disordered eating, but possibly the benefits for everyone of being outside, getting fresh air, getting sunshine, but how that can also relate to healing from disordered eating, healing your relationship with food. Now, there's no specific correlations. As one of my sources said, most of this is causal. It's not directly correlated. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Correlation means because you went outside, this happened. Like, there's a direct correlation. Whereas causal is more, it's an influence. It seems like when people spend more time outside, they tend to have these benefits. That may not be the best explanation. Maybe you can, I could have looked it up, but so can you. So today, my sources are the APA.org, which is the American Psychological Association, Yale, Harvard, Utah.edu, healthychildren.org, which doesn't seem that legit, but they had an interesting little article, and then the USDA. So here we go. Getting fresh air. So sunlight triggers our body to create vitamin D. Now, you'll often hear that sunlight gives you vitamin D. Sunlight triggers your body to start creating vitamin D. I don't know all the science behind it. Trust me. And vitamin D can help aid in mood regulation. So if you're in an area in the winter where it gets dark, sometimes you are encouraged to take vitamin D when you are not able to get outside and get in the sunshine. Some studies show that being outside can help reduce stress levels and lower blood pressure. In children, playing outside promotes curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking. They've seen less anger and aggression and better impulse control, lower stress, and fewer occurrences of depression. So if it's working for the kiddos, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work for adults. It's probably just that study focused on children specifically. But I don't know why it wouldn't do the same for you and me. After we're no longer little kids, we're big kids. Studies have shown that being in nature can restore and strengthen mental capacities, increasing focus and attention. I think all of us could benefit from that, regardless of whether I'm losing my mind, so I think I need to spend more time outside. Whether or not you think you need help, whether or not you think your mind is weak or not. So spending time outside is linked to a reduced risk of psychiatric disorders, and it's linked to upticks in empathy and cooperation. So if you're a crabby person, if you're an argumentative person, I'm not saying spending time outside will help that, but you never know. It might be worth a try if that's something you want to work on. Contact with nature is associated with increases in happiness, subjective well-being, positive affect, positive social interaction, and sense of meaning and purpose in life. Nature might help to buffer the effects of loneliness or social isolation. So the main theme in a lot of these studies was spending at least 2 hours per week outside. So 2 hours per week, 120 minutes. How much is that a day? Say there's one day that you're inside all day, you just completely bum out on Saturday, 6 days a week. That's 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day. maybe 15, you'll make up that extra time on the weekend, maybe spend more time outside, maybe you like to ski in the winter, or you like to go to the beach in the summer. 20 minutes a day. I think that's pretty doable. Even if it's cold outside, just bundle up. That's some people's big excuse, is that it's cold outside. But if you dress well, I understand there are some days where it is just way below freezing, and like, don't be outside if you don't need to be outside. But otherwise, bundle up and go outside. That cool, fresh air can be really good for you, as we were talking about. One more thing on that time. That is the minimum requirement, is that 2 hours per week. Under that, they didn't see relationship between the benefits of being outside and the benefits of being outside. It was at least 2 hours. But how is this linked to your relationship with food? So, healing your relationship with food, to heal your relationship with food, it's a personal thing. You have to understand why you are struggling with food. I struggled with very restrictive eating and binge eating for a very, very long time. And it's hard to start fixing a problem without knowing what the cause of the problem is. So I have an episode on reasons why you may binge eat. And there's an acronym, HALT, which stands for, says HALT, but it stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And definitely the angry and the lonely are things that I've just mentioned. Multiple studies, well, I can't say that. Studies are showing that being outside can help with mood regulation, so anger or any negative emotion, and also with increases in happiness, subjective well-being, positive affect, positive social interaction, sense of meaning and purpose in life. If you're lonely, being outside may buffer the effects of loneliness or social isolation. So if you're struggling with your relationship with food, I mean, you don't even have to yet understand why you specifically are struggling. But being outside can be good for you, even if you're not struggling. But going outside may help to mitigate the reasons why you may binge eat or struggle with your relationship with food. So the fresh air, nature sounds, getting away from our screens, getting away from the news, being outside helps us reset our minds and helps us ground ourselves. And those are my words. Those aren't from any research, but I don't think we need the research to know how some of the positive effects of being outside. I'm sure you've experienced them yourself. You may not have thought about them at the time, but next time you spend some time outside, kind of think about it while you're out there. When you get back from being outside, how do you feel? How differently do you feel? So going outside is not a fix for you if you're struggling with disordered eating. It's not the end all be all. It's not going to be like a flip of a switch and it's going to solve the problem. But it may be a tool that you can put in your toolbox and a tool that you can utilize when you're struggling. If you have the urge to binge eat, can you step outside? I'm not saying it's going to stop a binge, but maybe it will help lessen the trigger. I can't tell you what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you. It's going to have to be trial by error by you. But whether or not you're struggling with disordered eating, I think it's wise for us to incorporate time outside every day, more than just walking from your car to work, walking into the store. It's not gonna get your 2 hours a week. So I think there are benefits for all of us to spend more time outside. How can you spend more time outside? Can you go for a walk around the block? Can you take your dog for a walk? Can you take your kids outside? Just sit outside. Sit outside with your morning coffee. Sit outside and read. Sit outside by the bonfire at night. I know these aren't all applicable to everyone, but how can you get outside? Even if you're in the city and you have a balcony, wherever you are, just stepping outside a couple times a day. Maybe you don't have 20 minutes like all together where you can go outside. But how can you spend more time outside? That's all for today. If you guys want more content, be sure to subscribe or follow wherever you are listening or watching. And I will see you guys in the next episode.